Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Okay, so today I have a new product we are testing out. It is the new Maybelline Superstay Full Coverage 16-Hour Powder Foundation. Now I have not worn a powder foundation in like, no joke, 15 years. Like I never really wore a powder foundation. I was always a liquid person, so I'm a little bit skeptical on the whole thing. Before this video, I really hydrated my face. I used a serum, I used a moisturizer, and then I went in with this Smashbox primerizer as well. And I did all this before the video just because I knew by buffing in a powder onto my face, I didn't want my face to be really tacky, just because I don't want the powder to stick to any areas. So I did that beforehand. I've been letting it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes. So basically, this is it here. There wasn't many shades for me to pick from. I just found a stand and there was probably about 8 shades. I think there is more. I'll list that down below as well. But I decided to pick up 220. I'm usually 220 when I have a tan in Maybelline. So all the liquid foundations I have from them, the matte and poreless, it's always a 220 when I do have a nice tan. So I decided to test out the powder in 220. The powder does come with a nice mirror. It has a little sponge that you can also use. And then basically it just says it's full coverage, long-lasting, matte finish, up to 16-hour wear, lightweight, comfortable, fade and transfer resistant, and controls shine, which to me sounds great because I have a combination to oily T-zone, so that sounds great to me. What I'm going to do is I usually do my concealer after I do foundation, but because this is a powder, today I'm going to take some concealer first and conceal my dark spots, conceal my pimple. So I'm going to start with the Revlon. This is the Candid Photoready 005 concealer. I'm adding a little bit of this. I just want to add it under my eyes and to my one zit. And I have a little bit of breakout here as well. But I want to see how well the powder covers. I'm adding a tiny bit of Chanel, the Chanel Le Correcteur over top of that. And basically I'm just going to start to pat that out. Normally I would use a sponge, but I didn't wet one, so I'm just gonna use my finger. I hate using my fingers because it just takes so long. Patting out my zit. Just gonna work the rest of it in with this brush. Okay, so basically I'm going to use on this side of my face, we're going to use a sponge they provide. I just want to see what happens. And then I'm going to use a brush on the other side of my face. So first let's go in with their little powder puff. Have some product on there. This is so bizarre to me. I would say that the this is not the exact same as the 220 liquid. I think the 220 liquid is a little bit darker than this, so I think it runs a little bit lighter. Just keep that in mind if you're trying to blindly select a shade with no tester. It's a tiny bit lighter than the regular Maybelline 220 line. So here's one half done, one half not done. Definitely matte. Okay, so now on this side of my face, I'm going to be using this Real Techniques. This is the 301 little brush here. And I'm going to try buffing the powder in to see what I like better, or if it really makes a difference. So let's go in. I honestly don't see much of a difference between using a brush and then using this little cotton round. I think that this gives more of a medium finish, if you want to say, because it does really kind of lightly buff out the product. This one is more of a full coverage, so if you are looking for full coverage, I feel like the sponge is a great way to apply. The only problem is that you should be replacing your sponge every so often, just because it will hold bacteria, and I really think it's important to do that, and I know a lot of people probably won't do that and they'll just keep using the same sponge till the powder is gone. But it's really important to clean your brushes. I know it takes some time, but if you find you're breaking out and you don't really know why, try cleaning your makeup brushes. I clean mine after every time I use them, but I have a lot of makeup brushes, so I understand people don't have like hundreds of makeup brushes that they can just keep picking different ones, but you should at least try to clean your brushes at least once a week. So let's zoom it in. Okay, so this is the side with the sponge. And then this is the side with the powder. Honestly, it's not so bad. My nose was a little bit dry right in the center. You can see that there's a little bit of a dry patch here, but it's not as dry as I thought it would be. And then the forehead, it looks pretty good too. It's not really accentuating my fine lines either, like really sticking to it. It actually did a really, really good job, and it was pretty effortless. I had a zit there, it's pretty much gone. But I find the powder is very creamy, and it is definitely a full coverage powder, 100%. I'm actually pleasantly surprised, which is super weird. I honestly thought I would not like this at all. But by first application, I'm actually enjoying it. So I'm just gonna finish up the rest of my face makeup. I'm gonna apply my bronzer and everything else. And then I'm also gonna be filming another video on the new Maybelline matte eyeshadow palette. So I will check back in, let you know the time. The time is 12:30. So basically I'll check back in a bit and then we will kind of recap. Okay, so I am checking in. The time is now 1:41. I did the rest of my makeup. I did a review on the new Maybelline Matte Bar palette. You're gonna have to watch that video. I think that video is gonna be up before the foundation review. It did not really wow me. But anyways, the foundation so far is wowing me. I'm absolutely in love with it. I cannot believe how much I am liking a powder foundation. So first of all, number one, the one thing I can really tell you, this was way less time consuming than using a liquid foundation for me. It went on super easy, super quick. I didn't have to set my foundation with a powder. Usually I set my under eye with a powder and then I go in with a face setting powder. So I didn't have to do any of that. I just went in, used only this powder. I bronzed up the face using the Bourjois bronzer. But honestly, I've been really, really liking it. So far, so good. And all my makeup went on spectacular on top of it. And I did have a dry patch on the center of my nose. And honestly, it hardly accentuated that at all, which I thought would be super drying. So far, so good. I'm gonna go about my day. And I will check back in and let you guys know my thoughts and opinions. But so far, I'm really, really enjoying this Superstay Full Coverage Foundation by Maybelline. So stay tuned. Okay, so I'm checking in and I have not touched my face once. It is now 6 o'clock. So basically I'm really impressed with this foundation for a couple reasons, but then I'm also like, I'm super oily. So that is kind of not the best for me. This is supposed to be a 16-hour wear and it's supposed to help control shine. So I applied it around, I don't know, what time was it? Maybe like 11 something. But my nose is super, super oily. Nothing has broke apart except for underneath here because like I'm like have snot coming out of my nose, but that's just gonna happen. But it is really, really oily. But here's a zoom in of the face. So you can see the nose is oily, but it has not separated, which is great. And I haven't blotted, so, and obviously that's where the boogers come out. And then my chin is oily, but it's not separated. And I did have soup, and the soup kind of like spilled on my chin, and I noticed it kind of took a little bit of the makeup off. And then the forehead, it's holding up pretty good. It's not as oily as my nose, and my zit is holding up pretty nicely. And there's no other parts of my face that have broken apart. It looks good. And it's not like majorly settling into my lines. Like every foundation I have settles in. I think that if you're a little bit more dry, I had a dry patch on my nose and it didn't really cling to it at all. So you would think with like a powder, you would think that it would make you look even drier if you are a dry skin type, but actually it didn't make my dry patch on my nose look dry at all. So I do think if you have even a dry skin type, I think that you will like this powder. I think if you're super, super oily, I'm more combination, but I'm really, really oily right now on my nose. I did use a hydrating primer today. I used the Smashbox primerizer because again I had that dry patch. So maybe next time when I use this foundation, I'm going to try to use it with more of a mattifying primer. So I think that if you are oilier or combination, go in first with a mattifying primer and then apply this, because that might help absorb some of the oil. And obviously blotting throughout the day and then like kind of touching back up would be a great option as well. But I just wanted to see how it looked. But the whole time I was editing the video, I really did love the way that my face looked. It photographed amazing. There was no flashback. And I wanted to mention too, it does not oxidize, which is amazing. A lot of foundations, they oxidize. This one stays the exact same color the way you apply it. It will stay on your face all day. Even when you get oily, it doesn't go orangey. So I think it is a great powder foundation. If you found this video helpful, please do not forget to give it a big thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.